students. We will be discussing about there is a concept called in the book cash flow quadrant from the Robert Kiyosaki. ESBI, we call it ESBI. The cash flow quadrant is the second book written by, or the second most important book written by the author Robert Kiyosaki. If I talk about author Robert Kiyosaki, is one of the fourth generation Japanese Americans settled in America. His education is basically, he studied engineering. He studied his, financial management, MBA management. And initially he was working in the US Naval as a warrior. And after that, coming from the US Naval, he started working in IBM, Xerox Corporations. And from there, he started his own business. And at the age of 47, he retired as a billionaire. And today, he is one of the sought-after person in terms of the financial knowledge. He is a person who gives a lot of vast knowledge and experience. He used to write books. And one of the very, very powerful book is called The Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And I'm going to discuss certain about the Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And also the second book, what is written is the cash flow quadrant. The cash flow quadrant is what he says, basically he says, the entire world population, if we bifurcate the people and in terms of they make money, we can divide them into 4 categories. One is an employee. And the second one is small business people or a self-employed. And third one is the big businesses. And fourth one is investors. What he does, he everything put it in a quadrant, and that is why it's called the cash flow quadrant. I may play a YouTube video of that. And before that, I just will give a brief idea. Now, what he says, we call it this is called the ESBI. One is an employee, and second one is the small business people or self-employed, and third one is the big business people, and fourth is the investors. What he does, he groups the left. There are 2 quadrants, left quadrant and right quadrant, even though there is a 4th quadrant. The left side people, what he call it, the employee and small business people, out of the 100% people who are there, the left side, he says 97% of the people fall under the category in the left side, which is either an employee or a small business people or self-employed people. Only 3% of people he considered in the right quadrant, which is the big business people and investors. And he went on to describe of individual characteristics, individual priorities, individual skill set, and all that. When he go through that, now first he starts with an employee. Now the irony what he says here is the 97% of the people who are in the left quadrant controls only 4% of the world's wealth. The people are 97% people, but then controls only 4% of the wealth. Whereas the right quadrant people, either big business corporates and then investors, in the population they are only 3% people, but then they controls almost 96% of the world's wealth. And this is applicable to any country. If we take in our India, we can see that a lot of people who are very, very powerful on the right quadrant, and they have the maximum money with them. And this is, they call it, it's a psychology. And now what he says, when we go next, what he say explains. Now, if you see, we can see the examples, people like who are in the right quadrant, or people like we can see Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's, or Adani's, or Microsoft, Dell, or Infosys, or HCLs. There are so many people in India we can see. And in the worldwide, we can see in the right quadrant, there are people like people who are there in Google, Apple, Samsung, all those big corporates. The difference with, and then investor part, we also says like the people like investors like Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, or in Indian market, you can see the Radhakrishnan Samani or Rakesh Jujunwala. Now she is more known as wife, Kavita Jujunwala is taking care. So we bring out the investors and big businesses. The controls on 90s, now they control 96%, 96% of wealth. And if you see, we are also on the left quadrant. We are in the left quadrant as an employee or small business people. And the employee like us, we have the skill set and we have the time. We have the skill set and time. What we do, we actually trade the skill set and time for other people who are in the right quadrant. And that is where, like he says, 3% people, they basically leverage our skill set and time, whereas we trade our skill set and time. And that is what he says. Now, if you see the left quadrant, the 3%, 97% of people, my father was working, my grandfather was working, and my great grandfather, I don't know about him, but then I heard he was working. What I'm doing now, I'm also working, and I'm making my son also go to school, get a grade, and work for someone else. And maybe after some time, when my son, when he gets married, and then when he comes out, and again I'm practicing is go to school, get a good grade, and work for someone else. And this is what in generation after generation after generation we have. That's why as a 97% of people we are in the left quadrant, we continue to be there. For some people, maybe at some point at time they realize it, and then we get into the left quadrant, the bottom of the left quadrant. We are going into the small business or self-employed. Now, if you see these self-employed and small business people, and self-employed are somebody like doctors, lawyers, and auditors. And small business people are who are having a small startup companies, struggling for more than 20 years, 25 years, and maintaining still the same, the small business like a restaurant, or maybe a travel agency, or in a departmental store. And these are the small business people. Of course, we generally we wanted to go from the 97% from the employee quadrant to small business. When we go from 97 to the employee quadrant, from the small business or self-employed. Now, there are two things which is more important. Number one is I need to have the skill set. Second one is many times what we think, I don't want to work for someone else. I have my own time. I wanted to create a free will, I need to work. That's why we always go into the second portion. It is small business people. But what Robert Kiyosaki says, when you say you are there in the left quadrant, as an employee, I go to office and come back home. I go to office and come back home daily. I go to office and come back home. And what he says, we have only, we may have 8 hours, 10 hours, depending on the company in which we think the firms they are working. But what as we trade our skill set and time as we have told. But what he says, starting a small business or being a self-employed is not going to create any financial freedom for us. What he says, from the employee quadrant, we go to the small business or self-employed. We think that we can create the financial freedom. But the point is that it is taking a quite long time. One in 1,000 or 1 in 100 1 in 100 is very rare. 1 in 1,000 only you are able to create a system when you start from a small business. And that's why he says, he wants us to start a big business. I will come to that point. But the point what he says, the number one is he don't want us to start a small business. The reason why, either an employee or a small business people, we still struggle. And in that, what he says from the employee, as an employee, I have 8 hours to go to office and come back home. But when I start a business, I spend more time than an employee spend. I spend more time. For example, any business, a small business person will start his day with the morning 7, 8:30, 9, 10. And then till night, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or something even 1:30 to finish his accounts. Take an example of a small grocery shop, or take an example of a travel agent. Now, he spent more time than an employee. But when it comes to money, as an employee, we are able to see that after the 30th day, we are able to see the salary. We spend less time, but we are able to see the time. We have to earn money. We are able to see the money. But a small business also sees the money. But what is it? The money comes from whatever the money comes and goes. It's either credit or debit and credit or debit. Like that in a circle, it is there. It's very difficult. We may take a little money from there and then spend. And what we do, we used to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest and reinvest it in such a way that and that is how what he says, we spend our time and skill set for the big business people. Now, for a small business person who is working, it also always depend on the big business people. So let's say, for example, today I have seen in Hosur, there are many small businesses, ancillary units, and these people have to shut their offices if any of the big company closes down. Now, many companies, these small businesses, depending on them. Now, technology advances happens. If they are not abreast of the latest technology, they have to close down. Now, situations like COVID came, a natural calamity, natural disturbances, they have to struggle hard. And that is why what he says, as a business, don't start a small business. Maybe you can start a small business, but eventually convert that into a system of business, which is a big businesses. How that to do? Now, how a small business can be converted with big business? That is why you're choosing the business, choose a business which eventually convert it into a system. A small business. Now, many of us, if we ask what is a small business and what is a big business, we always tend to say a small business is one where a small investment, a small return, and small employees, and small profits. And when you say the big businesses, big investment, a big employees, and big returns, big profit. But he defines in his book Cash Flow Quadrant, the difference between small business and big business is not in the scale. And that's very, when I read that book, when I was really astonished. The difference between the small business and big business is any business, let's say, for example, I take a business and work for a business, 4 years, 5 years, develop. Can I take a 6 months leave and go abroad? And during that 6 months, if I don't have any contact with my company or a business, when after I come back, will the business will be there? Absolutely not. Now, that is why many of the times I have seen some of my friends who runs a shop, even for their marriage, they do, for the marriage day also they work. Now, some of the means, they wanted to go, and during holiday they work, whereas everyone is enjoying their holiday with their family. Now, that is why any business, what is the definition of Robert Kiyosaki? Any business which depends only on one person is a small business. Any business which doesn't depend on anyone is a business, big business, which otherwise he call it. Any business which is a person-centric business is a small business. Because when as a person, if he is not available there for the business is going to collapse. Any business which depends on the system is a big business. It doesn't mean that you can create a system on the day one. You can create a system by being with the right-minded people, with the right attitude, with the right kind of mindset. What do we call it? Like-minded people. If you start with them, what we can do is we can leverage the time and of course ultimately the money. And in general, if you see, the money is not equally distributed. The money is not equally distributed. I cannot start a business like Reliance, how it does. But the one thing is that when we see the time is equally distributed, everyone has Mukesh Ambani has got 24 hours. I am also has 24 hours. You can see so many examples. Now that's why when the time is, since the time is equally distributed, using the right kind of mindset of people, being aligned with those kind of people, and once you slowly invest more time and invest your money, invest your skill set to create a system. Once a system is created, after that, I am there or not, the business has to run honestly. And that is what Robert Kiyosaki says is in his cash flow quadrant. So it's just an introduction. What we will do now, we will go through a video which I have posted in our Money Master group. Now we can go through that video and understand about the cash flow quadrant and the ESPI. Let me share.
If you are sharing the YouTube video, no, the live should be stopped.
Oh, is it? Okay, then I will do one thing.
PPT is okay. No? Yeah.
Okay. Then in that case, now what we will do is.
No, it's okay. I'll share the video. I mean, you can speak.
Yes, yes, sir. You can share the video.
Yeah, you can give the comments. I'll share the video. 1 second.
Yeah, in that group I have posted.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yes.
RAG, AI agents, agentic AI, most people think they are the same thing. That's why Scalar is hosting.
How do you retire rich? We read the book Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Kiyosaki is the author of the viral book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. In this book, Kiyosaki shares a framework for how anyone can move from an employee or self-employed individual to become financially independent as a business owner or investor. In this video, we share the top 5 insights from the book, including how the quadrant works, how the greatest freedom comes from owning a business or being an investor, and how to move from an employee always working for others to an owner or investor with Kiyosaki's framework for tackling money and risk. Before we begin, this video is brought to you by UXEC's Ultimate Spreadsheet Charts collection, which you can download and customize with the link in the description. Here's Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. Each of these 4 categories, or quadrants, has their own strengths and weaknesses. An employee, or the E quadrant, values security above all else and seeks the safety of a long-term contractual agreement. This person works within someone else's system to earn money. The self-employed person, or the S quadrant, does not want their income to be dependent on other people. They essentially own their job and is likely a hardcore perfectionist who values independence and expertise. This is the riskiest quadrant. Nationally, 9 out of 10 such businesses fail in the first 5 years, mostly due to a lack of experience and capital. The key to success in this S quadrant is to know when to get out and move on to something new. The business owner, or the B quadrant, has a system where other people do the work, like Henry Ford, who surrounded himself with smart people who knew all the answers so that he could concentrate on new ideas. The investor, or the I quadrant, uses money to make money. The opportunity for real wealth lies in the I quadrant. The right side of the quadrant is the safe side. With a secure system that produces money for you, you don't need to worry about unemployment. The ideal path to financial independence is to move from quadrant E or S into quadrant B, and from there into quadrant I. A financially successful business owner will have the skills, time, and money to support the ups and downs of the investor. E and S quadrant stock market investors focus on diversification. But as Warren Buffett says, diversification is a way not to lose money rather than a way to make money. The better strategy is to focus on a few strategic investments, not on diversification. Kiyosaki writes that people who fear loss buy a stock at $20 and then sell it. As it rises less, they lose what they gained. They also hold on when it slides down to $5 with hope that the price will come back up. The investor is neutral on wins and losses and only sells a stock when it's peaked or as soon as it starts to slide. To quote Buffett, Wall Street is the only place that people ride to in a Rolls Royce to get advice from those who take the subway. Or, put another way, don't hand over your investment decisions to an expert. Instead, acquire assets that provide passive or long-term residual income. Kiyosaki writes that the secret to wealth is the same as the secret to win the game Monopoly. Buy 4 greenhouses and then trade up for a large red hotel. Start with small steps, the greenhouses of Monopoly, and gradually build up to larger investments. But remember, your mortgage is a liability and a debt that you have to service, not an asset. If you pay off your mortgage, your house is still a liability. It has to be maintained and you have to pay taxes on it. Property is only an asset if it generates income through positive cash flow. Kiyosaki also writes that gold is not necessarily the ultimate asset. He says even gold is only an asset if you buy it for less than you sell it for. To become an investor, you need to map out a plan to get control of your spending habits and minimize your debts and liabilities. You don't become rich when you work hard to make money that you then spend. You become tired. Kiyosaki lived modestly for years and worked hard not to pay bills, but to acquire assets. If you live within your means, you can start saving a small amount each month. Then you can focus your wealth on building assets that generate passive or long-term income and take baby steps toward your goal. To start on your path to financial freedom, write down where you want to be financially 1 year from now and 5 years from now. Draw up personal income and balance sheet statements to show all your income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. To eliminate your consumer debt, put aside $150 to $250 every month to pay down credit cards, then car payments, and then your mortgage. Most people can be debt-free in 5 to 7 years with this intentional focus on debt. Once you're done, put what you used to spend to service your debts into assets that generate income. Kiyosaki writes that you need to get financially educated and become an expert at solving one particular business problem. Put aside 5 hours a week to read the Wall Street Journal, listen to the financial news, read financial websites, magazines, and newsletters, or attend seminars on investment and financial education. Financially uneducated investors look to experts to tell them what to invest in, whereas educated investors become experts at solving a particular type of problem. For example, Bill Gates is an expert at solving software marketing problems. Warren Buffett is an expert at solving business and stock market problems. Kiyosaki and his wife are experts at solving problems in apartment housing. If you need help with this, Kiyosaki advises to seek out mentors. But remember that most people giving financial advice are themselves stuck in the E or S quadrants, so choose your mentors carefully. Seek out those in the investor and business quadrants. But don't just learn from books or mentors. Take action and learn by doing. You can't grow unless you experiment, so Kiyosaki recommends to go make offers on real estate or buy a stock you have researched. If you're focused on apartment housing, for example, Kiyosaki recommends to look for for sale signs in your area. Call the agent and ask about the property's current rent and maintenance cost and what types of financing are available. Then practice calculating the monthly cash flow statement for each property. For stocks, do your own research on the companies recommended by stockbrokers and consider opening a trading account to make some small investments. Meet with business brokers in your area and learn what's for sale. Go to trade expos to see what franchises are available in your area too. Just remember to start with baby steps and know that making mistakes is how you'll learn. These mistakes will lead to disappointments, but Kiyosaki says be kind to yourself, as you won't learn anything new if you punish yourself after every disappointment. For more insights from Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Cash Flow Quadrant, you can read the full Cash Flow Quadrant summary on our website. And don't forget, you can download and customize our Ultimate Spreadsheet Charts collection for a series of pre-made charts and graphs to save you time and hours of work as you plan your financial future. Just check out the link in the description. Now, go check out our video summary of the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, for more insights on how to reframe your thinking to grow your wealth. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Prasad sir, for beautiful give us playing the video. Maybe to sum up, now the cash flow quadrant or the ESBI, what you call it now, of our Robert Kiyosaki. Now it gives a framework of understanding of the businesses, where you are currently and where you wanted to reach, your destinations. So once it is clear, by recognize where you are in the current and then where you want to reach, you can take a strategic decisions, and accordingly we can start the business. We can understand the business, and then we can go through the be with the right kind of people with the right mindset, align with that mastermind group, and ultimately we can reach financially free. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Ayyappan sir. Thank you for a great insight on the Rich Dad Poor Dad, the ESBI quadrant, and it's a mindset which is required to move from one quadrant to another. As you rightly said, the wealth, it's not the richness, the wealth is 95% or more is with 3 to 5% of the population, and the remaining 5% is with the 95% population. It's not even the Pareto principle. It's not following even the 80-20 Pareto principle. Yeah, this is where, the mindset plays a very important role. And taking calculated risks. And Robert Kiyosaki says that, the empire that he has built is by taking loans. And we have a good morning. Yeah, there is a saying that, loans are bad, you should be debt free and all those things. So this is something which Robert Kiyosaki is dead against. And over to you. Yes, Murugesh.
Okay, nice session.
Yeah.
Okay, nice session. I downloaded that Tamil video, same Tamil, similar Tamil video also, same book. Thing is, I think we have to. I think I have to introspect my investment, my life, my career, everything along with this video. Okay, it's a good learning point. Thank you. But in between, one message has come. The host, you are there now. You are what do you call no? I won't mean. I will read it. The content of this meeting is being sent to YouTube host. Some messages come in between because it is checking. So hope it will not stop our. See, somebody is doing who is forwarding the YouTube will be blocked. That account may be blocked. There will be a danger. Because one of the meeting, we discussed this such kind of things and seeing that safety of this. Because Nagaraj is taking care many YouTube things and learning and sharing to us. If his YouTube link is YouTube account is blocked, then problem for us. You should be careful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your concern. Definitely.
I'll share the screenshot to you. I've taken the screenshot of that message.
That is why very purposely now we don't want the Mind Valley program to be telecasted. That means a live stream. So is okay. So,
they are checking clearly. They have the automated tools.
so when that's why we have multiple accounts. I have account, you have account, Verapan sir is accountant.
No, we have account. But see, this Nagaraj, his account, he may not be able to share his normal activities.
Understood. Okay.
I don't know what is the message will come to you. We don't know. Yeah.
Other question will move on. Anybody else is?
Or it may give to, it may give a problem to our
Understood.
telecast.
Point is taken enough. You need not to go more around that. Anybody else wanted to share anything about? Welcome, Faisal. After a long time, we are seeing you in the screen, but then we are not able to see you on video. Yeah, welcome back. Where are you? You went to Moon or Mars, or you went to?
I didn't go anywhere. I'm at home. Just a background.
Good morning, Faisal.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I was doing a bit of calls yesterday, and I called Soumya and Prasad sir, and I supposed to call you as well. then I decided, at least I'll join.
Okay, we can see directly.
Good morning, Veselji. Like to see you again.
Good. Yeah. So everything is going well. A bit of cleaning space now. So in the regional challenges, but however, we are coping up with the situation and doing it whatever we can.
All is well.
All is well. So that's what's so. However, great to hear you. Great to see all of you, and it's see, Robert Kiyosaki is somebody who created a legacy by giving financial literacy and education to create wealth and abundance in a very practical way. A lot of people has been transformed their wealth and investments, asset generation and living up liability, has been taken because of his advice. Even it has also influenced me, because when I choose to buy a house, I did not buy a house where there is no appreciation. So I choose a location where I can get an appreciation as an asset, not as a liability. And also influenced me on compounding of generating wealth. So so that's what I would like to share.
Yes. Thank you. Is the definition of asset and liability. This is also one of the very, very important factors. And the different ways of creating the assets. We can discuss over a period of time, maybe in the subsequent details.
It's a very powerful definition. A lot of people make mistakes in this. They do not, really do it in a very smart way, end up in facing a lot of struggles in the future. So this need to be defined well before doing the investments.
True.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Your presence brightens up.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
Thank you so much for the acknowledgement. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, good to see your smiling face after a long time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I hope everything is under control back in Dubai, and things, yeah, are looking better, I suppose.
Yeah.
And let us plan for this thing on this Saturday, maybe 1 hour in the evening, maybe 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. That would be 6:30 p.m. GST. And let us look back and see what we have achieved and against what we had declared in Thiruvananthapuram meetup. Are we on track, or do we need to take any corrective measures to bring in the more energy? So let's declare a meeting on Saturday between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. if it's okay with everyone.
For me, it is not okay because I
Yeah,
have to be.
suggest let's have just suggestions. It's just a suggestion. You can declare time convenient for you, Ayapan.
Yeah, for me, it works only during morning hours or in the working
Or
day.
or we can do one thing, or we can have it after the Sunday morning session.
Would
After
be better.
7:30
I think
7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.